to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. Today, Christina Frei is with me. Christina runs the Innate Marketing Genius, a boutique marketing practice where she helps solo business owners own their voice, market to their strengths, and get the right clients consistently. Christina takes a holistic approach to marketing. We're told all day long that we need to be authentic to the point that it's almost become cliche. But this is a great conversation because Christina digs into the 5 marketing archetypes that she has identified. They are nurturers, adventure guides, door openers, steady presences, and celebrators. I'm wondering if you can guess which one I am. Well, keep listening and you'll find out, okay? And you'll also learn to find out and identify which one you are, because it's your own self-awareness that when you have it will enable you to show up in your marketing and in your client process. This is really fun stuff. And actually, I think it's pretty darn exciting stuff. I really loved this conversation. All right, now, before we get to that, I want to tell you about LuAnn University. Enrollment for LuAnn University opens next week if you're listening in real time, November 2023. Here's the big thing you need to know. We are having only one session in 2024. I know we normally have 2, so if you want to be taking a course and you're thinking, oh, I'll wait till later in the year, do not do that. This is your chance. And there are so many outstanding courses to choose from. I want you to remember that LuAnn University is designed, it's curated to address each of the problems, the challenges that you face in running your businesses that keep you up at night. From process and system to finances to marketing to profit margins. I have heard you. I listen to what you are troubled by. I've also included the things that trouble me and keep me up at night in my business. And then I went and found the leaders in our industry, the ones who have the answers you need. And I've gathered them all under one roof for you. Okay? Head over to LuAnnUniversity.com to explore your options and decide which courses you will take so that you can get your business rocking and rolling in 2024. That's LuAnnUniversity.com. All righty, let's meet Christina. Hi, Christina. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Great to be here, LuAnn.
So, Christina, it's so funny because Nicole Heimer of Glory and Brand, who is my creative director, and I've worked with her almost 7 years now at this point. She says everybody loves a good quiz. Like literally all humans love a good quiz. And of course, you have a quiz that is find out your marketing archetype. And I have to tell you, at the time I took the quiz, I didn't even know what we do once we know what our marketing archetype is. And I didn't even read all the things because my result was adventurer, celebrator. And I just stopped right there. And I thought, all right. I don't even know what they mean, but so far I'm not surprised about the results. But I am excited to understand really why do I want to take an assessment quiz about my marketing archetype and what do I do knowing this? Because like I said, I didn't take any time to read further into it and try and understand it. I'm leaving that for you to help me figure this out and to help all of us figure out why it matters.
Okay. Happy to do it. So, okay. You may have noticed that even if you're a really good interior designer or any profession where you got to be really smart, you might be brilliant at that and yet really have no motivation to do marketing and communicate about what you do. Those are two separate sets of skills. And they also require sometimes different motivations, or at least they seem to. So, what I have been studying is the fact that if you can tap into your favorite way of helping other humans, no matter what your profession is, right? There's just like a general way you transform others' lives that just brings deep fulfillment to you. And this is actually a marketing archetype. So I have 5 different types, and I'll just share with you what they are and briefly what they mean. And then we can go deeper from there. So, what I discovered is that the first category is nurturer. Nurturers are people who love to make it safe for other people to thrive. That's a nurturer. If you're an adventure guide like you, LuAnn, you see what's possible for people way before they do, like big goals in life, and you inspire them to reach much further. And I'll get more specific as to how you do that in a bit. Door openers are the third category. If you're a door opener, you get up in the morning and you love to offer a new perspective, a new frame, a new idea about something people might feel rigid and stuck about. It's like entire new worlds open up when you just consider a different perspective. These are natural educators. And then steady presences is the fourth. So a steady presence is that pillar, they're the lighthouse. Your deepest why is you just want people to know they can get from here to there no matter how crazy life is. And then finally, the celebrator. Celebrators are those who love to bring the good life. That's your deepest why. And the way you do it is through your own flair, whether it's bringing color and gorgeous design or being really funny or having like you're the life of the party. I mean, there's many ways to bring flair, as you know. And those are the very broad brush general categories that I've discovered. And as you probably noticed, it's all about how you love helping humans.
That is so crazy because I really honestly I didn't read the like what each result meant. I thought don't color your brain here, just wait for Christina. But like it's so nuts. It's like when you have the Enneagram done, like you're just like, yeah, that's me. Like that's like so, because the others are all wonderful traits and things like that, but I can't say that I'm a nurturer or that, I'm a steady presence. But like it's so interesting that inspire people to see what they could become. Do you know how many conversations I have had with interior designers and window treatment professionals that have considered doing the chairman of the board program with me? And it's a year-long coaching program with me. And I say to them like things like this: there are no workbooks. There are no templates. There's no homework. I'm not taking any notes. You are a grown, adult. You show up. The thing, my job is to help you see what you don't see. My job is to help interpret your goals for your company and get you on the path to making it happen. That is so bizarre.
You're like a poster child for it. I love it.
That's crazy. I've been having those conversations for 4 years. It's not like, oh, I know my archetype. Let me like change my messaging to meet the archetype. So is that sort of the thing? Like if you weren't sure of what really is truly you, like you might, maybe you do this test and this quiz, maybe I would have gotten a different thing. And maybe, is it like, I'm really going to try and guess now instead of asking you to explain it to me, but is it like, well, what if I was like, geez, I never seem to get any chairman of the board clients? And it's like, oh, because what you really are is an adventurer. And what you're really doing is talking to people about how nurturing you are, which is not me at all. Okay. So like, is that where this comes in? Like I happen to zero in on who I am, but I'm old. I've been around the block a few times. Right. So is that what this magic is, Christina, that you help people uncover? And that's how we put it to use?
That's what I notice is that when people operate from that deep why, that fulfilling, helping other humans kind of thing, then it's magnetic. I mean, I haven't done like thousands of people case studies on this. I just see it in every client I work with. Like once they find their lane, it's just, you can't get enough of them.
That's so crazy. Okay, so I love it. So the thing is, we all need to bring our deep why to our business is what you're saying. And so when you're communicating, whether you're a window treatment professional, you're an interior designer, you're a web, developer, you want to talk like I just said, like when I talk to people about possibly being a chairman of the board, I'm like, here's the things I'm not, here's the things I am. So we have to get that messaging down, right?
Yes. And I don't know this for a fact. I think people have an easier time claiming these sides of themselves when they work with clients, but a harder time communicating to people who don't know them. So it's sort of like, oh, yes, this is me, but marketing? Like I can actually be this way in the way that I get out there in the world. That might be a little bit of a aha.
Okay. Okay. So what you're saying is, I think what you're saying is maybe in a conversation when I might be telling somebody I'm an interior designer and I meet them at a thing and I talk about my superpower and my only, and I wrap in this marketing archetype with it because I've spent some time figuring it out and understanding. That seems doable to us because it feels aligned. But what you're saying is when we go to create a post on Instagram or we go to create a blog post, maybe then are you saying that people tend to go and say, well, I can't talk like that, I should talk like this? Is that what you mean?
Well, because we're always surrounded by everyone else's example, just the way that, society runs right now with just watching other people's Instagram feed or whatever it is you do. So you think, oh, I'll just go along to get along. Let me just do what everyone else is doing or some kind of mishmash of that, which is it just makes you sound like everybody else, even if it's the right quote unquote thing to do, instead of, okay, what's the driving force here? How do you actually show that you care about the person you're reaching out to? And the way that you do that is to honor who you are first and then come from that place.
So it's not watering our own selves down, right?
No.
It's interesting. I think I have an example of this, and you'll tell me if I'm grasping what you're talking about. So we have copywriters here. We have a whole team of writers, and Diana heads our marketing department, and all the things. Like there's a lot of content pushing out every gosh darn day. And if anybody thinks I'm sitting in a box and creating all of it, you're all out of your minds, right? And so there are what happens is when it's an email message to my list, for example, or it's a personal post on Instagram. Like if you're going to talk about my weekend with my grandchildren and my husband, I'm going to see that. They're going to put that in front of me. But like when we do emails to the list and it's like, hey, this is what's happening, blah, 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 I will review them. And I will tell you that 9 out of 10 times, if I edit them, which I do, I will tweak them and edit them and I'll zhuzh them so that we're all sure it sounds like me. I'm talking to the person I have a relationship with. But what I'm telling you is even okay, here's a better example. Everyone knows that I have writers that write the intro and outro, but there's never an intro outro that I don't put my hands on. It just saves me from the blank page. And sometimes I can do 10 minutes of edits and sometimes I can spend an hour editing an intro outro because I'll be like, but what I'm getting at is 9 times out of 10, the edit is, I'm like, we're not direct enough here. We're not really saying what I'm trying. We're not like we don't need to beat around the bush. We just need to say, hey, are you not taking action today? Like, stop. Look,
well, then I
listen.
would love to riff off that because I can share with you the superpowers of Adventure Guide. And then if we want to talk about your Celebrator side, we could do that as well. Is that
okay?
Cool?
But let me just, because I had a long story there. So let me just put a pin in on that that's what you're talking about. It's like people in my world are educated. They're talented copywriters. They've listened to my podcast 1,000 times. So they're willing to go out and talk in what they think is my voice. But as the adventurer personality, I'm innately a little bit more inclined to be direct. Is that and that's what we're talking about, is taking it and really owning it when you go out to the world with your voice message. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to clarify that I was on the right track. Right.
Yes. Yeah. So let me just demonstrate what I've noticed about adventure guides. So adventure guides in particular are, again, you're all about, you see on the horizon these incredible things people could reach for, and then you embolden them to reach. And how do you embolden them? Not by pushing. That's tempting. It's more just like, how are you going for it? What are the bold goals you have in front of you that you're reaching for that then you can turn around and share. And then, other people will respond like, oh, well, she's doing it. LuAnn's up to it. I'm inspired by that. I want to do that too. And it doesn't mean you're doing everything LuAnn's doing. I'm just saying, it's
No,
just you
but
inspire action.
That's interesting.
So, yeah. And the way that you communicate, you don't have to nerd out about all of the value that people get. I mean, and just sort of explain your expertise and go into it and show all the solutions out of the gate. Out of the gate, your job is to reveal the vision. Really just go right to the end possibility of like, okay, this is what it looks like to work with me or to, engage with me professionally at all, instead of, well, here are the 7 things that you're going to get out of it. I mean, that comes in time, but
Right.
It does not come initially where you're like, hey, me, not that other person. Not that you're sitting there being competitive with other people who do what you do, but that's sort of,
right.
All marketing is you standing out a little bit. So you're really just leaning into what you're really good at anyway and what you care about. It's like, let me just get right to it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean being like harsh and like, let's not beat around the bush. It's just like, dudes, look at this incredible thing that you could be accomplishing.
Right.
Let's stop dragging our feet and really honor this and do something about it. So the way that you tell your story is just to paint the vision.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to do that. So I have activation questions for adventure guides that are all around that. It's like basically your homework is when you're working with clients and you look around, and this can take some time to really, get specific about, but what are some common goals that the people you work with tend to be holding back on that you inspire them to reach for? And what are the bold goals that you need to reach for? Maybe you're not right now. And what is a bold truth that you need to lay down that might actually be a little uncomfortable for you to do? I mean, it's one thing to have the like, well, I just tell it like it is. Rah, rah, rah. Like, that's great. Also, there's always going to be a bold truth that's even tough for you to say.
Sure.
That's what you want to lean into. So that's the Adventure Guide content creation little intro pack that I just gave you. Like, any thoughts or questions?
You know what's so interesting about it, Christina, is you have no way of knowing this. We are not in each other's worlds. We're meeting today, right? June 25th of 2023, I went live on Instagram, which if you know me, this is not a normal thing for me. Like I have been in the public eye for 7 years, and I've been told by expert after expert, show up in video. And I'm always like, whatever, I show up in a podcast, find me there, right? But June 25th, I went live and I said, I've had a really crappy health journey in the last several years. And this is what I used to do. This is what my life was like. And then when I built the podcast for 3 years, I was side hustling the podcast and doing the window works thing and doing this while they were both full-time jobs. So what went by the wayside was the absolute care and attention that was a non-negotiable for the last 30 years of my adult life went by the wayside. And I was like, line in the sand. This is what I have to do. It's not easy to do, blah, blah, blah. And what's so crazy is over the next month, I cannot tell you the number of people that said, because you did that, I've been doing it. I've lost 20 pounds. I've now got my blood pressure regulated. I'm this, I'm that. And to your point, it was a bold truth. It was like, yeah, you think I have it all together, but I'm an actually garden variety human just like you are. And I don't show up as my best self every day, 7 days of the week. And I have been ignoring this. And what's so funny is I'm like 4 months into it and I feel completely different. I'm like, yay. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting that I think maybe we would say the lesson is that if I were 35 or 40 or 45, I don't know that I would have had the self-awareness to be able to speak the way I speak and to reveal what I reveal and to do these things but that's the message, right? That you have, Christina. Don't wait until you're old enough to just say, you know what, take it or leave it. You like me, you don't like me. Because if you connect with it sooner, is your point, everything fits into place better with your business and your life, right? I mean,
I
that's what
actually
I'm
want to say
feeling.
something about that, LuAnn. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah,
Sort of
no.
how could I possibly have landed on that in my 30s or 40s? And I think sometimes what stops us from getting there sooner is, we're figuring it out. We're like, where do
Yeah,
I belong and what is my true voice? And I don't want to rock the boat.
right.
And so what I've noticed, and this is part of the foundation of the work that I do, is that when we are connected, I'm going to get a little bit esoteric here. So, if you need me to
I'm
nail
woo-woo
something
all
down,
day.
just, yeah.
Believe me. I'm
So
there.
like if we're very connected to the incredible fulfilling contribution that we are capable of bringing to other people. And I have actually a mindset tool that I call the generosity practice that every single client uses for 10 minutes for this very reason. Because I want people, even if they're struggling with like, who am I in the world? How do I help people? I don't have enough clients. I'm a failure, blah, blah, blah. But if I can help them in 10 minutes a day, get really clear on like, oh my gosh, if I had all the money in the world, and I could give anything to all of life and know that it would make the difference that I wanted it to, like, what would that gift be? Game changer. And now when you're really in that, like, oh, you mean I could have that kind of impact? Because it's just you close your eyes and do this. You're not going out and actually physically doing anything, but just knowing that potential, it just makes you the badass that's like, all right, let's just get to it. I got nothing to hide. All I care about is that other humans benefit from what I do. I mean, it really just gives you a little halo in the best way.
Yeah.
That gives you some boldness.
I love it. I love it. Anything that helps us step into our true potential sooner. I mean, gosh, right? Like, oh my gosh, to have that inner, like, you know, navigator, like, this is who I am, and this is why I'm on the planet, and this is how I'm meant to serve. Like, whoa, right? And then, to have that permission, I guess, is kind of the crazy word in a crazy way to not water it down and make it acceptable, right? We're not talking about ever being disrespectful or presenting something that is not, um, desirable or something. Like watering it down to me is not being fully you, not, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, like trying to fit in and being like all the other voices. It's like, well, it's funny because we've talked with you, Charles, a lot on the show about storytelling. And you have to, and I do sales training with the WindowWorks team and with the Exciting Windows, members. And I'm constantly saying, you know, this is the point in the sales process that you need a story, but it has to be your story. I can share you 10 stories that I've pulled out of the hat 1,000 times in the course of my years selling window treatments, but you can't pick my story. It has to be your story, right?
And that requires that we give ourselves permission to actually have a life and make
Yeah.
mistakes, try things, have it be a mess, and then you can turn around. I mean, I think sometimes going through our education system, no matter what that looks like, there's a little bit of a lie underneath it all that says, hey, you just went through all this training and education and you paid a lot of money for that. You should be ready. And it's like, heaven forfend, you should go out there and into the mess of human relationship, mess up, and try to, because marketing is all about that. You're basically meeting brand new people. How could that not be messy? So
Great
I would
point.
just want people to be like, I'm all right with that. Let's do
Yes.
this.
Great point. And the thing is now, so if we translate this to someone else, just for argument's sake, that's an adventurer, right?
Mhm.
Translate that into, so when I do it, I'm seeing the transformation of your business. I'm saying this is what I've just heard. Like I spend my first day is like literally a 5-hour day. And I just asking questions and trying to understand you and, questioning when something you've said an hour ago contradicts with something you just said now. It's like, but you said this, did you mean that? Because we need that, space and time to really allow ourselves to I feel like the hours together in that first day allow us to get past this is what I think sounds good to somebody who is going to coach me on what I think my business should look like. Like we got to get further than that, right? And so,
Totally.
but once we get there, then I'm like now coming back and saying, this is what I hear as your goals. This is what I hear as your desires. And then I go, and this is kind of what I see for you, like based on that, right? So that's my process with chairman of the board. And it's in my process in cocktail conversations, for crying out loud, with people. And anyone listening that's ever had me do it knows it. But talk to me about interior design. Is it simply just I see the end result of your house? Like it has to be more nuanced than that.
I would say that, well, let's see, interior design specifically. Absolutely, it relates to, here's what it could look like. I mean, that's the given. However, maybe go further than that. You know what happens to people when they have the house of their dreams. I honestly just put in an offer on the house of my dreams and I got it. And it's like, even knowing I'm moving in like 3.5 weeks, and even knowing that that's happening, it has changed me to my very core on so many levels. And so it's sort of the same thing. When you have a kitchen that is bright, that has a gorgeous countertop and the color of cabinets and all the elements that bring it together, and the feeling of that you can share moments with your family in that space. You're drinking your coffee, maybe you're there alone in the morning and that your husband or wife are still sleeping upstairs, and just the feeling of being there and having that, like, I am a blessed human kind of experience. That could be one result.
I get it. I do. It's like, it's not just the beauty of the space. You're helping them visualize the future of the way they feel in their home.
How is it going to change? Like,
right.
Not even just how you feel every day, but like your actual relationships. You could make a case for that.
Right. Okay.
I'll tell you, for me, I'm moving into this absolutely gorgeous home. You know what it's going to do for me? All of my friends, I know this to my very core. My friends and family now I'm going to have a closer relationship with all of them, because now I have a gorgeous place that I can be proud to invite people to and just love them better.
Oh, wow.
Legit. I just can love them better because of the beauty of the home I will be living in.
Wow. Okay. Because that's so intrinsic to you and yes.
I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So talk to me about any one of the other archetypes and give us a little bit of, how
let's
they
do you. Let's do you. So we'll move on to Celebrator. Because
okay.
Adventure Guide and Celebrator, man, that is a very high energy combination.
You think? You don't know me that well, but everybody else just like practically spit out their coffee.
So Celebrators, again, you want to bring the good life. That's a healthy celebrator. And the way that you do it is your own flair, whether it's humor, whether it's you are a walking party, or, you have absolutely gorgeous design sense, or a combination of any of that. And so your job, because this is so much easier for you than it is for the rest of us, so don't laugh when I say this.
Okay.
It's basically just to enjoy what you do, who you work with, the goals, the things that you're affecting for people, the change, and then just share it. Like, look around your work life at all the good stuff and appreciate it openly. Appreciate people that are helping you do what matters to you. Appreciate a networking group that whatever it is, the clients that you're working with, the new kinds of either window treatments or rug providers or whoever's involved.
Right.
And the reason for that is, when a celebrator, I don't even know why this is. I suppose I could ponder as to why. When a celebrator steps back and really appreciates either people or their work or any of the stuff I just mentioned, it just moves mountains. It just changes something. It up-levels the entire game. And one example I love to give is when the NASA space program was just getting off the ground, who was the celebrator? There were two main people. One was Kennedy, and the other was a bunch of science fiction authors. And they both were like, oh my gosh, the potential of going to space / the moon. Like, and their energy, for some reason, they're saying that. Like, if a nurturer like me would have said it, probably no one would have cared. But because of their innate capacity to just I don't even know what, enjoy life, see the potential on those levels. They just got billions of dollars. I mean, obviously it's more complicated than this, but that is a huge element as to why so much money was thrown in that direction. That's Celebrator on their game.
That's interesting. That's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
the
so
way
cool.
you tell stories is simply share the joy. Like,
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
it you love about what you're up to? And tell stories about that.
Yeah.
And then look around to other leaders that affect what you do and talk about them. Just like
Okay.
tell everybody why they're so great. This was a big energy during lockdown that just got crushed and killed. And lots of people did a great job to bring it up again. Like people doing videos about, how much they love their dogs. And like, we just had to have that as medicine for our souls because we couldn't
Mm.
be with each other. And it's just, we have to have that energy in our lives.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting. So when you talk about, first of all, like I said, it's crazy. Like any of these, it's a marvel to me how these assessments land things. Like we use predictive index when we are hiring. And if you see we use predictive index when we get together for team meetings once a year, and we share everybody's results. And we have had employees that have previously struggled to get along, really, frankly, that like literally see each other's PI, hear the explanation of what innately is clicking in each other's brains, and go, oh, okay. And then like 180-degree turnaround the next day, the office is back to synergy because I think as humans, a lot of times we process things, obviously, personally. So, whatever the differences are in the PI and all the things. So it's just so crazy how these things nail us. And I love the potential of showing up as our best selves by having more self-awareness and understanding more about what makes us tick. And it's so funny because I have learned as a salesperson, to I have my own thing. I have my own vibe, my own energy, my own crazy pants nature. But I have long, long, long trained myself to come in a notch lower, like when I first meet somebody, and then, kind of reveal it here and there. And I know that the success comes for each of us when we do reveal our true selves. Like I do believe that. But you do so, like, especially when you're like a ton of energy like me, it's sort of like, like when I was younger and less capable of doing that and even less aware to do it, I could meet introverted type people and they would just literally in 5 minutes be like, no, she's too extra. I have to leave the room. And now what I'm going to say, my celebrator personality be like, wait, you don't want to be at the party? Where are you going?
well, I would love to explore with you the combo, like the power of the
Oh,
combo.
okay.
Yeah. Is that cool?
Okay. Sure. Guinea pig all
Okay,
day.
because one thing that I have been, my summer project, which I know we're in fall now, but my summer project was, let's say you take the assessment and you find out you are an adventure guide and a celebrator. Right now in this hot minute, you would get 2 sets of emails, but I just am finalizing the hybrid email series so that it's like, oh, I'm actually both of these. And here's the magic, the combined magic of both. Now, this is fresh content. I'm not going to say it's road tested, but I mean, I've been following these types forever. I think I kind of have a handle on them. So here's what I came up with for adventure guides and celebrators. So if you think about it, there's 2 ways you might lean, actually 3 ways. One is you might be an adventure guide first, somebody who's just like, all right, let's do this. And the things that you inspire people to go for are kind of good life-ish kinds of things. That's where the celebrator comes in, like the flair of your goals, right? That might be like for you, if you're helping people have more beautiful, functional spaces with what you're up to in design, then your goals are probably filled with flair. That's how the 2 of them relate. So that's one.
Okay.
The other way is that you might be celebrator forward, which means, okay, here I am inspiring people to live the good life, but I'm not just making it pretty and cute and funny. I want to bring such a good life that it's like over the top. I'm talking, let's have a parade. Let's if we're going to have a dance party, it is going to be like the most unforgettable, crazy dance party with like elephants and stuff like that. Like you just take it over the top of celebrating. And that's where the adventure guide energy comes in. And then the last way that I've identified is that they're just parallel tracks. Sometimes you're the bold adventure guide and sometimes you're the good life bringing celebrator. They're parallel motivations. Again, I have not road tested all of these, but I'm just curious if one of those three speaks more loudly to you, or is it like, yeah, I'm all three?
Yeah. I mean, what's so funny is because I'm sitting here laughing. And when you think about like the take it over the top, let's go all the way, blah, blah, blah. Like I've been describing to everybody for the last several months what LuAnn Live is like. And I'm just like, yeah, it's sort of not like any other conference in the industry. Like we get together at 9:00 in the morning and I say goodbye to you at 9:00 at the end of the day. Like we are together all day. We are bringing it. Like I literally, this conference have Amber de la Garza, who is a productivity specialist, doing 20 minutes every morning and at the end of every day, specifically for all of my friends, colleagues, listeners that have said to me, yes, on one hand, I love all this information. On the other hand, you have me so overwhelmed at the end of the day that sometimes I don't feel better. Instead of seeing the potential, I see all the things that I have to do. And I was just like, well, that's not good. This is all about seeing your potential. Like literally right to that adventure guide. This is about where you could be. What are you talking about? Pick what you like and leave the others aside. So we're actually having Amber speak to it because the other option was to build in 2 or 3 hours of breaks every day and then back to Celebrate. I'm like, hell no. Like what? Like, no, we can't all right, we're all going to sit by the pool, like 200 of us. Like, no, like we're here. You left your businesses, you left your families, you got on planes, trains, and automobiles. We are making it worthwhile. It's like,
yeah. So it sounds nuts. Like you're a celebrator, like over the top. Like if we're going to live the good life, we're going to do it 150%.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Power Talk Friday tours, 1-day coaching events, 8:30 in the morning till 11:30 at night. Like literally. And I've done it
and
a dozen
by the
times.
way, I do want to share a nuance. So it's one thing to just, because if they're giving you that kind of input, it might be because there is a lot of information being downloaded, which can be overwhelming. So if I were your coach, LuAnn, I might suggest that how could you make it more fun? And that doesn't mean just sitting by the pool. It might just mean let's bring in more humor into these modules or whatever.
Oh no, we're laughing our butts off all day long. Oh, are you kidding me? It's like, oh no. That's why I'm saying it really is different. This is not, I'm not the workbook girl. No. It is conversations about the vision. It's exactly what it is. And then it's me, just like on the podcast, getting into the weeds on how did you execute it? Whoever I'm speaking to, what were the steps that you did? But we are interactive. We are talking from the stage to the audience talking back. It's a celebration. It's a celebration that somehow in the middle of it, we're talking about your business.
Okay. If people are able to just engage, which it sounds like they can, and you're really just drawing them out and helping them refine their own vision, then I mean, and you've probably cracked this, I don't need to tell you this, but I just noticed that embodiment, anything that brings the body into an all-day affair where you're just sitting there, and even if you're laughing your butts off, it's just can we just stand up?
Oh yeah.
Maybe do some wacky dance moves, I don't care, but just let's shake it up.
Yeah. We go long, but we break almost. And the longest we go is 2 hours without a break. And a lot of times I'm just we take 5 minutes, stand up, walk around,
nice.
Get to the can if you have to. But when the music stops, we're rolling again.
I mean, LuAnn, when you're in a flow, it's just maybe you get that input, but some people are just going to be overwhelmed because they're introverted and it's been a day of, right?
That's what I learned. Know. What was so funny is, now you could talk about this, the first time I did it live, included in the ticket was all the after stuff, because I was like, who wouldn't want to come to the party part? Who wouldn't come to the dinner with the DJ? You know what I'm saying? But what I learned was that a lot of people did come up to me and say, you know what? Because I'll be like, I didn't see you last night at the dance party. And they're like, no. I don't want to miss the long day. You know what I mean? But in order to show up as my best self, I need to go away from you for a few hours and away from everybody else so that I can recharge in my room, right? So now the evenings are optional. It's like, I'm like, all right, fine, if you don't want to party, but we'll see you back in the morning.
Love it.
No, I did. I learned it was actually a huge aha post the first event that cost 5 figures that I found out that not everyone wanted to come to a dance party at the end of working all day.
Okay, LuAnn, listening to what you're up to, I hope you have a cartoon character version of yourself somewhere in your
I know they want
marketing.
me to have like a bobblehead.
Yeah, because you need one.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now, whether we do this assessment and we're adventure guide, we're celebrator, we're nurturer, we're whatever we are, the next step is having a greater understanding, like you just explained to me. And I feel like I'm very fortunate. And I also feel like I'm very, very many years into my career that it wasn't a surprise to me to learn. And I do think on reflection that I do kind of show up exactly the way the assessment says I am. But earlier in my journey, or less confident to stand in my Sandra Funk space, or less self-aware, I might take this assessment and it might put a little bug in my brain. I might be like, that really does feel like me. But I might look and say, I haven't been showing up like that in my marketing. And so that's the next step, is really understanding. And so taking the assessment, going through working with you. So I get the assessment, whether I'm like me and I'm like, nailed it. What else can I do to make it better? Or, whoa, got me thinking. How do we go through so that we can take action on the things that you're helping us learn about ourselves?
Okay, when you first discover your archetypes, my hope and prayer is that it kind of blows your hair back and it just sort of feels familiar, but also refreshing, refreshingly lovely.
Yes.
So, I mean, I would just invite anyone to take the emails that come at you and enjoy them. Like, I actually
haven't even read those yet. That's interesting.
Right? I put a lot of love in those. There are dorky, fun images. There's like, if you were a sock, you're going to get that, LuAnn. You're going to get the email in like 2 days that says, if you were a sock, it's coming. So just have fun. Oh my God, please just have fun. Let's bring the fun back into marketing. That's number one. Number two is, okay, you've heard me speak on LuAnn's awesome podcast, but I also have these things called marketing labs. So once a month, it's on my website, Innate Marketing Genius, live workshops. I'm going to open it up for 90 minutes and we're just going to go crazy with archetypes. Or let's say you're a hybrid. Let's talk about that. Or let's say you just really hate marketing. Let's talk about that. That'll be the mindset class. So, you know, it's funny. You catch me on a day today, LuAnn, where I used to be very like by the book and regimented a little bit with how I did those monthly workshops. And now I'm like, why? I know this stuff. I'm just leveling with you. I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything right now. I'm just like, you know, marketer to marketer saying to you, you know what? You get to a place where you're like, why am I making this so structured? It's time to get loose. So I'm getting loose. It's going to be marketing labs, people. It's coming.
You heard it here. Heard it here first.
Right? Come on with all
is
your questions and challenges. And what that means is, you know, let's really just sink into juicy content that matters to people. And how do you create that and get real without being a whining mass of quote unquote authenticity that just makes your audience their therapist. That's not where we're headed.
Right. Okay.
So then after that, I work one-on-one with people. And, you know, the first step in that process is a 30-minute chat where we're just like, all right, let's see what that
Let's see what it means
like.
personally. Right.
Totally.
So the marketing lab, what's the fee to be part of the marketing lab?
Nothing. I do a free thing every month.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on down.
Oh, isn't that interesting? So show up and find out what you don't know, basically. Like,
yeah, I mean, if those emails sparked something in you, let's talk about it.
Love it. I love it.
And then then I lay out the options. I mean, I have a few ways to work with me, but the big one is Marketing for Humans. It's a 4-month boutique program. We just really get clear on who the heck you are and how to then look like an authority. What's the one strategy that's going to make you create amazing content regularly and make you look like a loving authority in your community? That's
I
pretty
love
much
it.
it.
I love it. My daughter Christy has a podcast. It was previously called Seth Says, and we're rebranding. She's rebranding and doing the inner edit, she's calling it. And her focus is wellness, mental wellness, physical wellness, spiritual wellness, for content creators. Okay. And so digital content, people that have, it's a thing when you're out in the world and you're putting yourself out there and all the things. And it's like the things come up, right? I'm not.
Oh my God. She's my new best friend. And I love the title of her podcast.
I know. Right. I think Diana came up with that name. So, but the thing about it is often when I hear her talk, she will, if she's explaining something on a podcast or she's, leading a group or something like that, she will often say so much starts with being self-aware of really, and everything you've said today to me lines up. And what I want to say to our friends, that are listening to us now is, yes, you know what, for purposes of demonstration, you picked apart my archetypes, right? But whatever your archetypes are, to your point, does it feel refreshing? Does it feel like, okay, I can let that tiger out now because I can lean into this and this is me? And how am I converting this into my messaging? Because it aligns with everything that Rachel Moriarty has told us in Social Selling for Creatives, that Ariane Belazar has taught us in Video for Creatives. These are classes at LuAnn University, and Jude Charles' class, Storytelling for Creatives. But this is the tool to get some clarity on who and what those stories are, and the way to express them is what I'm kind of grasping. Am I on the right track, Christina?
Absolutely. It's sort of step one before you start
Yeah.
unwinding those stories. And I even, if you know Donald Miller's story brand stuff, I don't know if that rings a bell, but
No.
he's a huge branding marketing guy. And
Okay.
that's what I did. I'm like, if you're a nurturer, this is the kind of story you want to tell according to that model. But if you're an adventure guide, it's pretty different emphasis.
Yeah. Because when and it's so funny because I'll tell you a little quick story. I'll try and make it super quick, but it just struck me what you just said there. If you are a nurturer, you want to say your story in this way versus an adventure guide. And I remember when Christy, that same daughter, was having problems in middle school with girls, right? She got to a point where she's going to love that I'm saying this. Don't anybody tell her when you see her at LuAnn Live. But she got to a point where it was 6 or 7 weeks into the school year and she would not get on the school bus. And every morning, no, I can't do it. The night before, okay, sweetie, we're going to talk about this. You can do it, blah, blah, blah. And basically she was getting bullied on the bus, right? And it was to the point that we would spend night after night and she would say, Mommy, role play with me. You pretend to be this person, I'll pretend to be this person and you be me. And I'm going to tell you what they say when I get on the bus. And then you tell me what I should say back. Right. Well, Christina, this is the proof in this, what your work that you do, that you have to find you have to have the self-awareness to your work and Christy's work of knowing yourself, but then you have to find the way that makes sense for you to express that. Because I spent a month and a half saying, she would say, ew, what are you on this bus for this morning? And I'd be like, who put you in charge of who's on the bus? You know what I mean? Like I spent a month of giving her comebacks, one day I told her, just walk in and sit next to her on the bus. And she was like, wait, what? I'm like, walk in, don't say a word. Just stand next to her until she moves over and just sit there and don't speak to her the entire bus ride. And she was appalled. And you know what happened? Finally, one day in all of this role playing, and this was, I'm telling you, crying nights, it's, imagine you're 13 years old, 12 years old, right? One night it struck me when we were doing the pretend role play. I said, Christy, I'm going to be this girl. You tell me what you want to say. And she goes, well, that's just it, Mom. I can never think what to say. I said, no. Say what's in your heart. Just say what comes to your mind. And do you know, Christina, we did it. And she looked at me and she just stared at me and she just said, why are you so mean to me? Whoa. Like I just got goosebumps. I was like, oh my God, I have you handling this in my way, in the way I would show up, not your way. And do you know, I like literally cried and I hugged her and I'm like, sweetie, tomorrow, that's what you're going to say. And she came home from school and I said, what happened? And she said, I looked at her and I said, why are you so mean to me? And I said, what happened? And she said, she just stared at me and she just went, well, because. And she didn't bother me the rest of the day. She didn't bother me on the bus home. I mean, I was like, hallelujah. But isn't that the epitome, Christina, of what you're talking about?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, isn't it incredible how easy it is for us to adopt other people's ways of communicating and just basically borrowing other people's truth and stories?
Or encouraging people to borrow ours because they worked for us.
Yes.
So if you're working with a branding company, a marketing company, anybody, and they're saying, do it like this. And if it doesn't feel right, you have to. Now, she was 12. She didn't have the voice to say, Mom, you're nuts and it doesn't feel right to me. At 20, she'd be like, that's a LuAnn response, not a Christy response. I'm like, okay, you're right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that is it. Like right there, if you have self-awareness, you can show up in your blog posts, in your marketing, in your consultations, in your design.
And I would say that what helps me get there anyway, and I've noticed it in a lot of other people, is the space to take a pause.
Yeah.
Marketing and running a business is just an ongoing, like, forward movement race sometimes. And in order to get that kind of authenticity that you just pointed to, we have to just pause.
Yeah. You do. You have to listen. You have to think. You have to give yourself space. You have to be self-aware. You have to be willing to explore who you are.
Yep.
Right? Oh my goodness. Yeah. I love it. I love all of this. I love all of this. And you're right. It's the step before. It's the step before all the things happen, is getting some clarity on who you are and what you do and how you do it and what makes it, like you said in the beginning, like the most fun thing for you to do, right? That's the contagious part.
In service to others.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like, what I noticed about this all is you feel good, other people benefit, and therefore everybody wins. So I call it the everybody wins station.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. So good, Christina. Just so good. I appreciate you so much sharing these insights. Just so fun. I love all the things about it.
Thank you. Me too.
Now, I'm going to take one line from Christine. She does have this question, and because I've been so wrapped up in all of this, she has this question. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wish I had, or anything that's on your heart that you would like to share before we end the show?
Sure. I love that question. I would say that, before even nerding out about your archetype and what that means, it's so lovely to just validate that every human, I would say, on the entire planet has a natural capacity to want to help other people. I don't care how horrible your life has been. And I mean, on some level, we want to contribute to each other. And just taking a moment, and if you're on a walk with your dog, simply remembering that. And like, oh my God, I have no idea how. That's okay. Yeah. But the desire to me is miraculous.
So good. So good. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Christina. I appreciate you so much.
Loved being here. Thank you, LuAnn.
I have to agree. It is miraculous. It's easy to look around and see all the chaos, all the negativity, but Christina is right. In our heart of hearts, I think each one of us wants to help others in some way, in our own way. I know that's why almost 99% of you got into interior design, right? You want to help. But you have to know yourself in order to know how to help others in your unique way. That's true for your designs just as much as it's true for your marketing. And I know it might sound crazy, but if you get too caught up in following the trends and the algorithm, I mean, I think we've all seen it when somebody's doing something on Instagram that's one of those, like, I don't know what they call them. what the heck do they call? I don't know what they call them, but you're just like, what are you doing? You look like an idiot. like you just don't look normal because it's not true to you, right? Like you're following, what are those things? I guess they're just trends, like trending things, right? Like some people do them and they're hysterical, but others I'm just like, please don't ever let me look like that. I say to my team, please do not ever ask me to do that stuff. Okay. And it's the same with ChatGPT. Don't get me wrong. It's not all bad, especially for brainstorming, and especially because you can kind of train it to know your voice, but be real. It's not you. You can't just type in a prompt and call it a day. I don't even have that with my team of writers who have been with me for years. I go back and rework every single thing they write so that you know it's me. So it is me because there's only one me. Just like there's only one you. All right? So Christina and her 5 archetypes. I love it. Now, I mentioned Nicole Heimer. I always do because I love her. And of course, Nicole loves quizzes. Why does she love them? Because they work in marketing. Okay. And she has a brand archetype quiz on her website too. That's great. So Nicole was here, episode 466, and we got into the weeds about defining your brand and where to go once you have. We will link that episode in the show notes. Do not forget that Nicole has a chapter in my first Power Talk Friday Experts Volume 1, where she says, sit down, grab a glass of wine, and let's have a date and figure out your brand. Okay. So that's another resource. All right. Christina's quiz is a tiny bit different, also relevant. Hers is geared more towards you personally so that you start to market from your personal strengths, okay? Because when it's you, when it's your own story, when it's your own voice, it gets you in front of the right clients, okay? The 5 archetypes are nurturer, adventure guides, door openers, steady presences, and celebrators. Your specific combination of these leads to your innate marketing genius, as Christina calls it. 100% go to Christina's website, innatemarketinggenius.com, and take the quiz for yourself because it is pretty crazy how spot on this assessment is, right? I mean, it's fun. I mentioned the predictive index. It's like that. We have discussed the predictive index before. I'm not sure if you know about that, but it's very helpful and it can help you in your hiring practices. My cousin Eileen Hahn teaches this, and you can listen to episode 363 to hear more about hiring and putting together the right team and how important it is for the personalities to be in the right seats, okay? Right butts in right seats, right? And then being able to work with different personalities is important too, both on your team and with your clients. And Sharon Sherman was here, and she talked about decoding your personalities in episode 892. Another excellent show. All of these things are so interesting and they all tie together. We'll link that in the show notes as well. Everyone else is important, but what about you, right? You're important. It all goes back to knowing who you are. And this is why you should take these quizzes, okay? Of course, I'm an adventurer, celebrator. Now we learned, okay? But now that I know that, I can really deep dive into this and I can learn how to put more of that into the marketing. And maybe you'll like it more. How about that, right? Okay? So let's walk back through each of the archetypes and her definitions. Nurturers love to make it safe for other people to thrive. Adventure guides see what's possible for others even before they do, and they inspire them to reach further. Door openers are natural educators and love to offer a new perspective or a new idea to help others get unstuck. A steady presence is a pillar or a guiding light, getting others from point A to point B. Finally, celebrators bring the good life and they help everyone find the joy. But here's the thing, no matter where you stand, it always comes back to helping others. You just have to hone it and own it. Now, I've talked with Claire Jefford and Jude Charles plenty of times here on the podcast, and they were both just with me for a fantastic few days at LuAnn Live, okay? Oh my goodness, what an amazing time we had. I hope you were following along on Instagram if you weren't with us. And here's the thing. Recently, both Claire and Jude were on my daughter Christy's podcast, The Inner Edit, talking about wellness for creatives, and they both talked about being vulnerable. Those are episodes 180 for Jude and 183 for Claire. They are linked in the show notes, and I highly encourage you to give them a listen. I know being vulnerable is hard. Listen, it took me a long time to do personal videos on Instagram. All right. But the impacts, both personally and professionally, have been absolutely amazing. Literally, I started doing it June 25th, 2023. And I'm recording this. When am I recording? What day is today? It's like November. No, it's not. It's October 30th. I'm recording this. And just yesterday, I got a DM from a designer who said to me, I just want you to know, I've been following your health journey since the summer. I committed because you committed, and I've lost 12 pounds, and I feel great. So here's the thing. Christine is saying, show up as you, okay? Learning who you are, okay? So I'm the adventure guide celebrator, and I started showing up as me in June, and you responded. I've always done it here. Let me just sidetrack. I've always done it here on the podcast. I think that's why me and you were so tight, right? But on video, on Instagram, I was like, this is crazy pants. But I started doing it. And the thing is, you responded. You reacted by encouraging me, by letting me know it was encouraging you. And because of that, I have continued. Isn't that exactly what Christina is saying to do, right? Be you, know who you are, be you, connect, attract your people, create a relationship, and build on it. I gotta say, I love it. I love it a lot. All right. So, all right. I mean, this is just so much fun. I appreciate you, Christina. I think this is great. I also just want to tell you that Jude Charles is going to be teaching 2 classes at LU University, and registration is opening next week. So please do not miss that opportunity. All right, go to LuAnnUniversity.com to learn about the classes that we have for the Q1 session 2024. It will be the only time all year that we run the university. All right, now, if you haven't already scrolled over to take Christina's quiz, do that. It's on her website, as I said, InnateMarketingGenius.com. You can also learn more about a holistic approach to marketing and join her live Marketing Lab workshops. Okay? She's got a 30-minute discovery call, one-on-one program, all the things. All right? Thanks tons, Christina, for joining me. I had so much fun learning about my archetype as well as all of the others. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you so much. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.